today on Divorce Court.
I'm here in divorce court today because I'm going to marry Gerald, and I want to work on communication problems before I marry him.
We're learning each other's ways.
We are abstinent, and it's been a 3-year long-distance relationship.
Betty's temper can get out of hand at times.
Gerald is a wonderful, wonderful person, but he is human.
Sometimes Betty makes me feel low by the way she talks to me.
If the procrastination would just kind of calm down, I think we'll have a wonderful marriage.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I have before me today Betty Bradley and Gerald Frazier. The two of you are here on a Before the Vows. You filled out my compatibility test, gave me your license with permission to tear it up should I think your union is ill-advised. You two got together late in life, but I understand that you had known each other from before. So Chaplain Betty, that's what they call you, right? Mm-hmm. Chaplain Betty, why don't you tell me the story of your romance?
Gerald and I, our parents we came from separate churches. Mine was in New Jersey and his was in Detroit. And our parents knew each other. We came into the same church from the womb. Our parents would come to Passover, which is like a holy convocation each year. And that's where we would see each other. We were little. I have a Facebook page that's for encouragement and edification and all. And Gerald saw that, and from what he tells me, he fell in love with me, my picture, and what I write. And we were being church cousins, mm-hmm. and that's what I was being, but he said at the time he knew he wanted to be my husband. And that's how we got
But you
together.
didn't know when you hooked up with him online that he was the guy that you had grown up with when you were little. Mr. Frazier, is that pretty accurate?
That's it. I had met her, I saw her picture, and kept following her page that she was writing on Facebook. So we kept talking and kept texting each other. Come to find out, we knew the same people, and we knew them from church.
From back in the day.
Yeah, and so we kept communicating back and forth with each other. And finally, I had been praying for a Christian woman, a Christian wife. We could walk up this way together. And this is how when I saw her and seeing that we knew each other, I just
you
said,
knew,
this
you
is
knew
it.
That was it. That was it.
it.
Well, Chaplain Betty, why are you here? Why are you concerned about whether or not you should actually jump the broom?
I'm 69 years old, and Gerald is baby. He's 68. And
baby.
we're kind of set in our ways, and our worlds were totally different, but still are. And
give me some examples of how your worlds or the way you do business differ.
Okay, I'm a chaplain, Gerald's a deacon, and we both were raised in a church keeping the Sabbath and all, but I ended up in a Sunday church, and he still was in the Sabbath keeping church. And I'm also, I'm degreed and he's not. And, you know, and being a chaplain, my position is higher than his, and that kind of thing. And there was a lot of things that I would say, speaking to my friends, and you know, the way I talk, he didn't quite understand. And so I would use brevity, you know, because I'm in hospitals and all, and in jails and that kind of thing, and I don't have a lot of time during the day to talk. And so he didn't quite understand some of those things, but we've since worked that out.
Mr. Frazier, she was saying that you're on different educational levels, and that at some time caused a little bit of friction. Is that an accurate recitation of what went on?
Yes, ma'am. Certain ways that she's been accustomed to living and certain ways that I have. And so we would kind of hassle back and forth with each other.
Well, give me an example of something you would hassle over.
Overwhelmed. When I had it in my mind that overwhelmed was when a person is happy, you know, and that they really but when she would tell me she's overwhelmed, she was talking about it being in a low stage.
Yeah.
And so we would kind of hassle out about that, you know, and
so y'all fighting over the word overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it's pejorative meaning, but it's like, I'm overwhelmed with joy, or I'm just overwhelmed by circumstance.
Yeah.
Who won that one?
Well, she did.
Yeah, okay.
But the brevity, she was telling me that, you know, how you use your words, cut your words down. Mm-hmm. And so when she told me that, it's like you get the attitude where, man, you know, am I going to be able to cope with this, you know, because she's knowing words and saying words to me that I don't quite understand.
Right.
But as time went on, she has taught me. And
did you get the feeling that she was trying to adjust who you are or mold you a little bit because she wanted you to be a little bit more like her?
Not like her, but
kick your game up a little bit.
Yeah. It's like taking the ghetto out to you. You know?
I never said that.
Deacon Frazier says you're trying to take the ghetto out of her.
No.
Is that true?
No. He was speaking in his church and he wanted to learn how to teach and all, teach the Bible and all. And I was saying use brevity, but also enunciate and use a little cadence. He was asking for my help. So I was giving him, you know, because I love Gerald. You told me I'd watch you twice a day,
well,
every single day, other than weekends. And I also I counsel with relationships and all, and I use a lot of your stuff, almost everything. And you told me to when you get a man, I'm paraphrasing. You get who you get. This is who he is.
You get the man you pick, not the one you hope you'll become.
There you go. That one.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I took that to heart, and that's exactly. I love who he is. I love who he is. But when you're asking me to help me out, and he has grown tremendously. He really has. But you can't complain about something you're asking me to do.
Right. Exactly. Did it get on your nerves a little bit? Did she know when to stop correcting and adjusting? Did she know when to call it a day?
Yes, but she had been accustomed to living a certain way because of she was married for 30 years, and she had been accustomed to living this way with him, and he passed. But when I come along, it's like I'm having to learn her ways, and she's learning my ways, and it's rough.
It's rough, yeah. And that leads me to the next issue I want to get on, because I thought it was very, very important. You described your ex-husband in your papers as a saint, which is deep.
I did? I didn't mean to. Well, he was.
Or at least you have that feeling about him, and I want to know how you feel now, how he compares to Mr. Frazier, and if you feel like that's any impediment to your ongoing relationship.
Gerald has procrastinated on his license and other things, but the apartment issue is the really bad one because we cannot live in my home.
Are you dragging your feet, Mr. Frazier? What's the problem? Chaplain Betty, why don't you tell me a little bit about your 30-year marriage, because that really changes and redefines who you are.
It was practically perfect. I was bedridden for totally bedridden for 15 of those years of the marriage, and had to depend on him to do everything for me, to lift my head, and to fix my hair, to do everything for me, to dress me. And then I was in a wheelchair for 12 of those 15 years. And this man, I begged him to divorce me because I was dying. And I knew that it wasn't fair to him. And he stuck in there and took care of me and my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, helped raise them. And I see a lot of similarities in Gerald. He would do the same thing for me. I know he would, because Gerald took care of my mother 3 or 4 times and was willing to marry me knowing we would have my mother. He's one of the most fantastic persons I know. But Gerald is totally different than Norman, and I like it that way. And when I met Gerald, I was still grieving, even though it was 12 years.
Mr. Frazier, do you feel at all compared to her ex-husband? Because he sounds like a wonderful dude, and I mean, you're not in competition with him, clearly, but sometimes maybe you feel like you're in competition with the memory of him?
Well, I know. The first time we had met, we went to a restaurant, And I asked her, well, it's for an engagement party. And they were going to give the engagement party at a restaurant. So I told her, I asked her a question, how much is the cost going to be? She said, oh, we don't worry about the cost. Our family just goes on and pays whatever it may be. Well, I got upset because I felt like, you know, why am I going in here not knowing what I'm going to have to pay for, where she said they don't think about it. So we hassled out about that.
Now, Chaplain Betty, did you do that? I mean, I don't care how much money you have. You ought to know how much stuff costs.
Gerald is extremely cheap. And I admit I'm extremely extravagant, but I think that we're going to balance.
He is extremely.
And I think that we're going to balance that out, though, because I do need to pull back. No, what it really was is that we were originally supposed to go to.
Well, let's not get all into the details of what restaurant you went to. My understanding is that you have a problem that he's procrastinating, and that he won't get an apartment so you can get married because you don't want to start your new life in a house where your old life was. Tell me what the problem is there.
Yeah, my husband died in the tub there. And we have 30 years of memories there, but I want to make new memories with Gerald on our own, and it'll just be our
So
memories.
what's he not doing?
The original plan, we were supposed to get married in June, and he was supposed to have been in Kansas City, because he lives in Detroit, and I live in Kansas City. He was supposed to be there at least 2 months prior to our wedding, get an apartment, and we was, because there's plenty of them there, and we were supposed to move right into it. Gerald has procrastinated on his license and other things, but the apartment issue is the really bad one, because we cannot live in my home.
Are you dragging your feet, Mr. Frazier? Or you just, what's the problem?
Well, I'm not accustomed to moving from state to state. And when I had asked her, when she had said something about finding an apartment, I felt as though that was, she could find out more so than me, because I have never been there.
Been there, and that's her territory.
Yeah.
She knows it.
Yeah.
She's got it together.
Yeah.
That sounds rational to me.
Your Honor, I bought my very first house at 21 years old. I have not lived in an apartment or gotten one since I was 17. I've only bought houses. I don't even know how to rent or get an apartment. And I did look and look and look, and even gave them
Now, Chaplain Betty, I'm gonna call you on that one. That's ridiculous. I haven't had an apartment since I was a little person, but it's very easy to figure it out. You go over there, you title over there, you get a lease. You know,
okay,
it's not that hard.
When I tried to do it, I did do it, and I was asking other people that had done it. I didn't know about the fee and the this and the that and the other, but I learned. And then I told him, but they wanted him to come there and fill out the application
and do all that,
and all this other stuff. I even found a person that would waive that and email it and let me do it that way, and Gerald still wasn't ready.
My understanding is that you believe that his family hates you, and I want to talk to you about that. I understand you think she needs anger management.
Well, at times I get kind of hard-headed, but when she tries to tell me things or we don't see eye to eye, she gets upset with me.
Do you believe you need anger management? Why do you think his family hates you? You seem like an awfully charming woman to me.
Because they felt that Gerald was supposed to stay in Detroit, and they wanted to know, out of all the women in Detroit, why did you have to get one in Kansas City and all? And so they don't deal with him that hardly at all, because if they did, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we did. And his own family came and was telling me all kinds of awful things.
What kind of awful things were they saying?
Saying that he was a drunk, which I know he isn't. Saying that he just wanted me because my home is paid for and all, and he just wanted those kinds of things, and just saying just lies. And so let's
let Mr. Frazier talk a little bit. Now, you know.
Yeah,
give him some room to breathe.
Yeah,
Mr. Frazier, what was your family saying to you?
They wasn't saying it to me. They were saying it to her. And I couldn't believe that they were going back saying these things to her about me when I was younger, how I used to drink and go here and do different things. And I was like, why would they come to her and tell her these things?
Something from 5 decades ago.
Yeah, and trying to kill her spirits from talking to me. And then they would say, oh, you spending more time with her than us, but I've been there in the city for years, and I can't hardly get them to come by.
Come by and see you. No, After a certain age, they don't drop by no more.
Yeah.
They leave you alone until you break, and then somebody has to take you. I understand you think she needs anger management.
Yes.
She seems pretty calm to me.
Oh, yeah.
How excited does she get?
Well, at times I get kind of hard-headed, but when she tries to tell me things or we don't see eye to eye, she goes off on me. But she
goes
says,
off. What does that look like?
Well, she hollers at me. She gets upset with me, and then it leads from one upset to another upset, and we're both at each other's throat. But when all said and done, we kind of see the eye to eye.
You can figure it out.
Yeah.
Do you believe you need anger management?
I didn't need it until I met Gerald. But no, Gerald yells. He gets, he doesn't mean it, but when he gets excited or
he's loud.
He's very defensive and all. And I tell him, I love you. I'm going to deal with whatever it is. You don't have to be defensive with me. But he yells, and I don't speak loudly, never. And I can't stand the yelling. It makes me sick.
It sounds like you're the one that needs anger management, not her.
Yeah. And
well,
the way she describes it. But I'm going to leave you. I looked at your compatibility test, and I'm going to say a few things, and then we're going to call it a day. Usually when I read compatibility tests, it's an exercise in anguish. You know, it's just this nonsense and silliness and foolishness. And you guys wrote the most beautiful stuff to the most mundane of questions. I mean, it was like, this is what I will give my intended spouse: love, joy, peace, and happiness. I will work together with him. You know, I mean, it was just fabulous. Even when I asked a question about cheating, and you said, I'm not interested in that. I am devoting my time to my wife. The reason why I'm getting married again is I want to put all my time into her. I mean, woo! I mean, all of it from both of you was just fantastic and wonderful and lovely. Now, Mr. Fraser, you seem like you're doing all right, but you got no time to waste. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You know, I mean, I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
The clock is moving.
yeah.
And it's not falling in your direction. So if what I would do if I were you was go ahead on, figure out the lease, make that move, don't listen to your family because they ain't coming by to see you no way. Get this marriage certificate and go on and marry that woman. Best of luck to both of you. You are great.
Thank you. I do need to work on my anger. And I do need to be a little bit more patient with you, but I do want you to move it up a little bit.
Well, I'm gonna try my best to step things up and to be the person that I should be, and that I'll get to stop procrastinating and go on and do it.
You are.